Since 2023 model year, when the Lexus RZ was launched, reviews have been so-so. Many have said that Toyota and Lexus could have done better, and it does show that how behind are they in the BEV world. Lexus for 2026 is launching a mid-cycle refresh for the Lexus RZ, and this update brings more power, some new technology, and most importantly, more range and faster recharging times. Let's dive deeper on the updates and compare it to Tesla to see how does this update of the RZ square off. Let's get to it. Hey, it's LSF here today, and today we're here to look at the mid-cycle refresh RZ. I'm quite surprised that a new refresh is coming so fast since Lexus launched the NX in 2022 and we still haven't got the mid-cycle refresh. We do expect to see something for 2026 model year for the NX, and when that comes, I will definitely provide updates and provide my views on it since I am an NX owner myself. So first things first, the information I provide is based off the press release in the European market. I would try to translate to some of it in the North America, but North American offerings could be different as Lexus does tailor to the market and could change some of the features. The information we see here could provide us some information about the North American and what potentially it could look like, but it may not be what it is. But we have confirmed that US and Canada will be getting a refresh RZ for the 2026 model year, because they did provide a press release at the same time and redirected to the European press release, noting that the US or the Canadian spec will be provided at a later date. The current RZ comes in two models, the RZ550e, which is the single motor, and the RZ450e, the dual motor, which is an all-wheel drive. So the refresh RZs, it comes in three models now. The top model is the RZ550e, which gets the F Sport badging. This is the first time the RZ gets the badging. And what surprises me is they call it F Sport. And when you look at the F Sport badging, it has a black background and not a white one, which means it should be F Sport Performance. But then they're just calling it F Sport. So then really thinking, are they changing the methodology of what F Sport really means? Or what does that all mean? Maybe in North America, they're going to call it the F Sport Performance. Really don't know. So the RZ550e is a dual motor, all-wheel drive powertrain, which has about 402 horsepower. In comparison, the RZ450e gets about 308. So you can see almost 100 horsepower boost. The non-F Sport version, which is the RZ500e, gets 376. So it gets about like 60 something horsepower more. The single motor, the RZ350e, gets 221 horsepower, and when you compare that to the RZ300e today, it gets about 201, so it gets 20 more horsepower. So how are they able to do this? So the RZ battery electric system has undergone a complete revision, so they completely revise how it works. Key changes is that they introduced new e-axles on the new RZ. It has improved motor output, the inverter is more efficient, and there's significant reduction in loss of energy. And on top of that, they have a new lithium-ion battery with a capacity of 77 kilowatt hours. In addition, the high power performance is supported by their adopting a water cooling for the battery and the BEV system. So instead of using air, they're using water to cool the system. So in the launch, Lexus provided four major pillars. Number one, driving pleasure. Number two, range and charging. Number three, performance. I think we've talked about that. You can see the increase of performance. And four, design. So they have some new materials in the design. We'll focus on the first two. Driving pleasure. Lexus finally rolls out the steer-by-wire, which was previewed in 2023, which has that steering yoke. It's unlike the Tesla one where this one has variable adjustments. Lexus took the feedback that they received in 2023 where people test drove it and used it, and they have addressed the complaints. So I assume right now it's ready for prime time and they're going to launch it. Another new tech Lexus calls interactive manual drive, which mimics an 8-speed manual transmission. There is not a lot of information on this, but we know it's software based, which gives you some visual cues, and they did include a video in the press release, so I'll be showing that so you can get a sense of what it is. And for owners, they may not care. If you're a regular driver, you may not care about this interactive manual drive. And for car lovers, it could be a love it or hate it feature. So let's look at the video about this interactive manual drive. The second pillar is range and charging, and this is an area where Lexus needs to improve on for this car to be successful. They said that they've increased the battery to 77 kilowatt hour battery, and it will add up to 100 kilometers of range in the RZ. Of course, this will be different for different models. I wouldn't expect the 550e to get 100 more kilometers. The current RZ ranges from 253 miles to 297 miles on the WLTP cycle. And with the new models, we're looking at 279 to 357 on the WLTP. So at least it now surpasses the 300-mile range. And when you look at the EPA ratings, it's 196 to 266 miles for the older models, and now for the new models, 239 to 306 miles on the EPA cycle. I wouldn't say that this is class leading, but definitely much better and closer to the competition. And then when we talk about charging, they say that there are significant improvements. They don't give a lot of information. They only say that it will take 30 minutes with preconditioning or 55 minutes without. And that's all they said. They didn't say it's from 10 to 100, 0 to 80. They really didn't expand on that. So just looking at today's, based on the calculator that they have, 10 to 100% takes about 63 minutes to fully charge at a 150 kilowatt charger. And that's at 15 degrees. It would take 95 minutes at 150 kilowatt at minus 10. So when you look at being able to precondition and being able to charge it full to 30 minutes, definitely much better than 95 minutes. However, I think I'm going to hold back that feedback until more details are released on this matter. And again, we don't know enough because they did not expand on this information. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to compare the old model with the new models and also with the new Tesla Model Y. And very limited information on the Tesla. Information that I took was from Tesla UK, because in US and Canada, the launch long-range all-wheel drive is the only model that they have information about. So when we look at this, when we compare it, you can definitely see that the RZ and the Tesla is very similar across the board. Dimension-wise, they're very similar. And when you look at from a weight perspective, very similar too, about 2,000 kilograms. 18 to 20-inch wheels versus 19 and 20-inch wheels. And then when you look at the cruising range, the current one is 429 kilometers and 407. You can now definitely see that the longest range is 575 kilometers, 500 for the 500e, and 450 for the 550e. So the 550e is very similar to the range that we're seeing in the 300e today. So then when we talk about the electrical consumption, so how efficient is it? So in the 300e, which has an improvement to the 450e, 175 watt-hour per kilometer, versus the 450e is 183 watt-hour per kilometer. And now when you look at this, the 450e and the 550e, efficiency-wise, it's very similar. 184 versus 183. But then the 500e, meaning not the F Sport, is 166. It's even more efficient than the 300e. With the 350e, the single motor, 144 watt-hour per kilometer, definitely is very efficient. When you compare that to the Tesla's at 153. When you look at this range, definitely it's in between the 350e, the 500e. When you look at the rear-wheel drive, so the single motor, 142, and the single motor is 144. Very competitive here. And then when you look at the regular range, 139, so Lexus still has a little bit to go on that. But when you look at that, definitely I think this is very comparable, 144, 166, and then this is really their performance one. But then when you look at the long range and launch edition, 4.3 seconds versus 4.4, there is some room for Lexus to improve on this piece. So then when you look at the WLTP, really 280 to 375, and then these are numbers that I got, like 311 to 387. I do not know if these are 19 or 20-inch information, because we do know that there is impact. And then when we go to the EPA conversions, definitely we are seeing a difference here. Keep in mind that this is not the long range, so that's why the numbers are much smaller. But if you look at the long range, you're talking about 301 to 331. So when you look at it, Lexus is still about 30 miles short, but I think definitely much better than the previous RZ. 77 kilowatt battery. There's an estimate of a 75, but there's reports of 80, but Tesla doesn't really provide a lot of information on here. But then when you look at from a performance, 4.3 versus 4.4, but then when you look at the regular model, 4.6 to 4.6, we definitely see that they are competitive with the Model Y at this point. But then the 350e, the single motor, 7.5 versus 5.6, definitely the RZ350e is a lot slower. Charging level 2 AC charging, 22 kilowatts versus 11. In Canada, I think it's a 7.6 or 6.6 kilowatt. So definitely, this is one area that I do not know if Canada will be getting 22 kilowatt or will just get the 11. Towing capacity, 3,300 on the all-wheel drive models. No information on the single motor versus 3,500 on the Model Y. So definitely when you look at this, overall, it's a much better improvement and they are very close to the competition now. It did take 2 years, but definitely now this does look much better. And then when you look at it, we're not comparing to the current Model Y, but this is the new Model Y. So it's already improved. So definitely very close. Lexus in the press release did say that they're introducing 3 new BEV vehicles in the next 12 months.
As we will announce 3 new BEV models in the next 12 months. And in that context, we will see the Lexus BEV formula applied to one of our core models. Our intention is to build BEV momentum leading to a future-defining Japan Mobility Show in October later this year that will contribute to reimagine the Lexus brand. And let's start now with the first of these 3 models, the new Lexus RZ.
So based on this, they just say it's 3 BEVs and the RZ is one of the models. So now meaning there's 2 more models that will be coming out in the next 12 months.
I mentioned a few minutes ago that we will announce 3 new production BEV models in the next 12 months. To show you how concrete and how serious we are about this, I have the pleasure to invite you to an exclusive sneak preview of an all-new core model. This core model has been reinvented as a BEV and will debut globally within a few months.
So before we move on to the 2 other models, the RZ, they do have a trademark for RZ550e and the RZF. So those 2 are still missing in this equation. You can see on the bottom corner, it says RZ550e. So definitely that has become reality. But we still have the RZ600e and the RZF that we have not seen yet. So then talking about the 2 other models. In that press release, he said it's a brand new car model. So definitely it would not be the ES on that. Could it be the HZ? Because you see we have trademarks of the HZ300e, 450e, 550e, and it can see there's also a 350e, which equates to the same equations here, right? So that could be one of the choices. There's another choice, which is the TZ. We have the TZ450e and the TZ550e. Again, we know what the 450e is, and we know what the 550e is. Most likely, I don't think the 450e will even show up because the 500e will probably take over. But right now, we haven't seen that. So the TZ is a 3-row SUV. I'm not sure if that will work for Europe, so maybe that would not be the one. HZ seems to be a better chance. And the third model, I do think that it will be the ES500e and the ES350e with the current equation that we have. So we definitely know that the 500e will give you like 300 and something horsepower versus the 350e gives you 200 horsepower. Makes sense, right? And then we will have the ES350h, the hybrid. Unfortunately, I haven't seen one with a plus. I really hope that they do offer an ES plug-in hybrid, but I haven't seen a trademark on that yet. Time will tell. The next 12 months, it's exciting times for Lexus, and with now the new powertrains, I think now they're competitive to the market. What do you think about this upgrade? Do you think that Lexus has finally got into the right spot, or they're still behind? Do you think that they should have gone above and beyond, or do you think this is a sweet spot to be in for the new RZ? Let me know in the comments below. I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.